Let's praise him.
Praise him. I've got to praise.
What's up, family? I'm Roderick D. Talley, and I'd like to welcome you all to my 8th book review. Now, before I get into this review, I'd like to remind you all of how I actually do reviews. First off, I only give positive feedback for these books because there's really no wrong way to write. And I want to make sure I keep encouraging my fellow writers to keep sharing their stories and to keep encouraging other people. And number 2, there's already enough critics in this world, so I'm going to do the opposite and spread positivity instead of negativity. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next book up for review, and it is The Top 8 Questions That Every Woman Should Ask Herself Before Saying I Do by Miss Ashida Onrae. Now, I got the privilege to meet this wonderful young lady at a Melanin Market event up in over in LA. I believe it was Inglewood, LA, to be exact. And what we really connected on was the fact when I told her that one of the ways I try to lead by example is in the way that we treat our women, and making sure I lead by example by how I treat my wife. And that's when she told me how she leads an organization where they're encouraging married couples and people they're trying to help people who are looking to get married to provide tools that help make their marriages successful and long term. So, because there's a lot of marriages, unfortunately, that do end up in divorce. Even those long-standing marriages, there's been some couples that we've known who've been married 20 plus, 30 plus years, and then they call it quits at some time. And so I really support people that are really big on trying to help us married couples stay together, because Lord knows we need that support. We need all the prayers we can get. So in this book, she really presents some key questions that every single woman should ask and be able to answer for themselves before they get married. You want to take time to actually make sure you're prepared for marriage. And although this book is geared towards the women, I strongly and highly suggest the fellas to read this as well, because it can give you a better insight and better understanding of the importance of why these questions need to be answered going into a marriage. Even if you are married already and you have a loving and happy relationship, I encourage you to read this book because you can definitely pass this knowledge to other people. So as usual, this author also presents a lot of great points in her book. But today I'm just going to go over 4 of those great points. And so the first one is not really a point that she presents. It's just something that I really like about how she writes this book. I noticed that throughout the book, she addresses her mistakes from her personal experience and her decisions to get better. This is very key and very vital. I value this to the highest extent because a lot of us are just too prideful to change, especially once we get into adulthood and we get into the middle age and senior age. For some reason, we let the pride hinder us from advancement. Now, I'm not saying don't have a sense of pride or anything about yourself, absolutely, but I'm talking about a different kind of pride that actually leads to our downfall. And so I really congratulate this young lady on, being transparent and stepping up and being straight up and honest about the mistakes that she realized she made right off the bat, and her decision, the mental decision that she made to get better so the next time around she won't run into these same mistakes. So the next point that she presents that I really like is when she says to transform your communication. She goes on to state that I had to learn to think before I spoke and keep other people's feelings in mind. This is really vital for people such as myself who are quite direct and can sometimes just speak what's on our mind. We're going to be honest. We're going to let you know how we feel. We're going to let you know if we're thinking that is BS, right off the bat. And that's a good trait to have, don't get me wrong, because we're not good pretenders, which is a great thing. But however, when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to somebody who we're we could see ourselves having a long-term relationship with, possibly marrying down the road and building our marriage and building our relationship. We want to be mindful of how we talk to them. And sometimes it's not about what we say, it's about how we convey our message. It's about how we say it. We need to make sure we're saying them in a loving manner, a welcoming manner. Because if we say it in like a mean manner, like the way that we just want to, it can come off as offensive. And that can make it harder for them to be open to us about what they're going through. Or it might be harder to make it might be harder for them to communicate with us about what's on their mind and what they're feeling. So the third point that she presents that I really like, and this is a big one, is when she says to make sure your candidates, and when she says candidates, she means like your mates, the people you're dating, your potentials, your possibilities. She says, make sure your candidates do not pull you away from your spiritual journey. I'm gonna say that one more time. Please make sure that your candidates do not pull you away from your spiritual journey. Please do not compromise your spiritual journey. Ladies, I'm gonna say it plain and simple. If you decide, whoever you decide to marry and settle down with, if you're a woman of God and you're trying to grow in your journey and in your faith in Christ, please get yourself a man of God whose belief system in his faith might not be as strong as yours yet. Hey, he could be maybe have found Christ a little bit earlier, a little bit later than you did. That's cool. But make sure he has a heart for God like you do. Because if he doesn't, there's going to be so many different rifts with a lot of the decisions that you make. God's going to take you to places that is not really going to be understandable. It might not be logical to people who are not followers of Christ. So if you have a mate in that household that don't follow Christ like you do, it's going to make things very, very tough. Not only very tough with a lot of the decisions you make, but he's not going to help you grow in Christ as well. And he's not going to help you grow in your spiritual journey. He's not going to help give you advice and be able and just pray for you like a godly man would. So please, ladies, please take that advice to heart. And the final point that I'm going to go over that she presents in this book is, have you let go of past hurt? Have you let go of past hurt? I can't tell you how many times I've jumped into relationships with women. And this happens on both ends, with both men and women, by the way. But I can't tell you how many times I've jumped into relationships in the past with women who were hanging on to anger and anguish from previous relationships. Or I can't tell you how many of my lady friends who, ladies who I consider my sisters, who told me about their relationship issues, and come to realize those issues were surrounded around the fact that they just couldn't let go of the hurt, the pain. Ladies, please, this is a big mistake to hang on to that pain, to hang on to that hurt. Please use that pain, use those mistakes. If a past relationship doesn't go well, all right, that's just not the one that God has for you. But please learn from that relationship, not just with what he did, but try to look at some of the things that you could have done better and learn from those lessons and carry that on to the next relationship. Come into the next relationship with a fresh mindset and a fresh, clean slate, because everybody's not the same. Every man's not the same. Every woman's not the same. And your next person, your partner, especially the one that you are considering marrying, they don't deserve that. You can't change the past. You can't change what happened in the past. You can only learn from it. But you can control how you're going to act towards the future, how you're going to act from this point on. So our book is pretty easy to find for purchase. The main place that you can get it is on our website at www.themarriagemovement.com. She's also on social media as well if you want to link up with her on there and ask her questions, pick her brain. She's open to that kind of stuff. She's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'd like to thank you all again for tuning in for another great book review. And until next time, God bless you all.
I would like to thank the wonderful Miss Shalonda McFarlane for allowing me to use her music. Make sure y'all check out our album, available now on Amazon.
Here at RD Tally Books Publishing, we are doing several things to help other writers and artists achieve the goals that they have set forth for themselves. If you'd like to view any more information, or if you have any specific question as to how we could be of assistance to you, feel free to visit our website at www.rdtallybooks.com, or you can email me directly at roderickTally@gmail.com.